Was real estate something that kind of always was with you?
For me, real estate was never something that I thought I was going to do. It was never something that I had in mind. I wasn't like, man, I really want to do that one day. The way it initially came about for me, when I was about 6 years old, the FBI seized our house. And I saw my mom lose a house. And then a few years later, it happened to her again. But initially, I saw someone flipping a house and I was like, man, I'm so competitive. I was like, I bet I can do that. I bet I can. A lot of people don't see the failures as the highlights. I celebrate the failures pretty much as I celebrate the successes, because I feel like...
What were some of the things that you feel like make or break your situation?
Well, definitely accountability. I think the moment that you can tell yourself, I'm going to take my pride out of this, and it's these self-limiting beliefs that we have. You know, it's those little voices in your head that says you can't do this, or it's too risky, or you don't know enough about it. And I think
that real estate still is a place that people can find that.
Oh, absolutely. I have now flipped houses for 20 years. Literally since I was 22 years old, I have been flipping houses. And I show them how to do it with no credit, how to do it with no money, and how to do it even if they don't have any experience. And this is the number one way to build wealth and to build financial freedom. And
Hi, welcome to Gold Media. I'm Melissa Bell. Today joining me is Jackie Coffey. She is a real estate investor, financial creator, educator, a content creator, and she's an author. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
So I know you've had quite a pretty cool journey, and I know, when starting out in real estate, I like to let people kind of give a little bit about their background. Was real estate something that kind of always was with you, or did something you wanted to do, or is this something you kind of got into accidentally?
So for me, real estate was never something that I thought I was going to do. It was never something that I had in mind. I wasn't like, man, I really want to do that one day. The way it initially came about for me. Now, I will say that there was something that somewhat drew me to it that I was unaware of, that I didn't find out for like 20 years. But initially I saw someone flipping a house and I was like, man, I'm so competitive. I was like, I bet I can do that. I bet I can, do it better and it'll be fun to do. And so I started doing it and I absolutely loved it. But it didn't just start out from that place. It started out from being that 20-year-old girl that was just in poverty, and I was so just exhausted with it. I was just like, you know what? I'm tired of this. I have 3 jobs. I'm working as hard as everybody else and I can't get ahead. I can't seem to make a difference, and I have my little girl, Bella, and I was like, what can I do? And that's when I saw someone flipping a house and I was like, I bet I can do that. And, when it started for me, it wasn't about becoming super wealthy or just, I wasn't trying to roll in the dough. I just wanted to be able to change, the oil in my car without having to miss a meal, or without worrying that, hey, is the electricity going to go off? And I really wanted something new and something different. So I said, you know what, let's just give this a shot. I don't know anything about this. And it's not in my background. It's not in my family. But I was like, you know what, let's just go ahead and try and let's see how I do. And the first flip, I would love to tell you it was great, but it was just absolute chaos. It was a shit show at its finest, if I can say that. It was a nightmare, but as I did it, I learned so much in that first flip that changed my entire life. That one flip, even though I consider it, any normal person would have considered it a failure, I considered it to be the tuition for my career that got started, because that's where I paid my dues. And that mess of a first flip was the origin story. So it was just getting past my own mentality of, can I do this even though I have no experience and I have no credit and I have no money and I just have nothing, but can I do this? And saying, you know what, I can, and just deciding to get started and then get started.
Start on that. I know. And that's the thing too. A lot of people, I'm going to say the majority of us, definitely, I know how it is to make a choice, hey, I gotta pay this electric bill, or I also have to eat tonight and feed people. So it's, having those choices and just wanting the freedom of not kind of being bound by the, okay, I'm only going to make this amount of money, no matter if I work 60 hours a week, I'm still going to be right here. And I think that drive to want to just see what else is possible for me is kind of what kind of spurred you as well.
Absolutely. And like I said, I was unaware, that part of me was somewhat drawn to it a little bit, but I wasn't even really aware of that. But growing up, there was some chaos that ensued in my family when I was about 6 years old, the FBI seized our house. And I saw my mom lose a house. And then a few years later, it happened to her again. And then as I was a young adult, it happened to her for a third time. So when I was about, I think 38 years old, my husband said to me, he's like, do you ever think that maybe you do real estate because y'all went through all of these hard things and you were trying not to let that happen to, yourself, your family, your kids, or anyone else? And I was like, oh my gosh, maybe that is why. So it was kind of nice to discover that like 20 years later. But yes, so, it was absolutely getting past that mentality of these bad things have happened and I still want to pursue forward through it.
And now, what are some of the entrepreneurial journey, like the highlights of some of the things that you've done? I know, like you started out, you had the first flip. Kind of how did that evolve into what you're doing now?
Yeah, well, and as I said earlier, I know a lot of people don't see the failures as the highlights. I celebrate the failures pretty much as I celebrate the successes because I feel like they're such an integral part of the journey. It taught me every single lesson I needed to know almost going forward in that one flip. It was the lessons you learn in the next 10 flips on that one flip. But since then, and since getting past that one, I mean, I've flipped $1 million houses. I've built Starbucks. I have over 100 rental properties, and I've flipped over about 1,000 properties, a little bit over that. I think last time we counted a couple of years ago. So, and then right now I'm working on building small boutique apartment complexes just as myself, not with any partners or anything else. So that's some of the things that have come from it. But I still see the best highlight, like I said, as the first failure, because that's where, the book even came from. After the end of that first flip, I was like, I'm done with this. This was so awful. This was so stressful. I didn't make any money. This is awful. And I remember talking to my older brother, Scotty, and he was, I was like, I just don't want to do this again. I don't think I can do this again. This is a nightmare. And I said, it was everyone else's fault except mine. It was the contractor's fault and it was everyone else's fault. And then he said to me, if you want to flip a house, which you did, you said, hey, I'm in it. You're the captain of the ship. So if it went down, that's on you. That's not anybody else except you. So as much as it humbled me, I was like, you know what? He is right. This was my doing. I've got to be accountable for it. And once I discovered accountability as being such a bonus in any entrepreneur's life, because once you accept accountability, you realize now I'm in control. And now I can make decisions, and now I can make changes, and now I can grow. So I remember telling myself, I said, you know what? I didn't know if I wanted to do another flip because I didn't know how to flip yet. I didn't know how to flip a house. I messed it all up. But then I thought to myself, I sure know how not to flip a house. So let's do it again. And that's actually what inspired the title of the book. So I definitely see it as a win, even though, or as the origin story.
I love that though. And that you were talking about too, like what are some of the mindsets, you have to have resilience and, facing your fears. What were some of the things that you feel like kind of it could make or break your situation moving forward in a journey like that?
Well, definitely accountability. I think the moment that you can tell yourself, I'm going to take my pride out of this and I'm going to take my ego out of this. If I really want to do better and I want to get forward and I want to grow, and I want to just persevere through all of these trials and tribulations that happens in anyone's career, you have to be willing to put your ego aside and be accountable. And I know accountability, it's hard because it's like saying, oh man, I'm standing here without any armor on and now I'm easily to be attacked. But the moment that you take that accountability and you embrace that mindset, everything changes because every successful entrepreneur sees accountability as a learning tool. It's not a failure. It's not anything that we see as negative. It's just a learning tool. And the more you embrace it, the more you can change and you can grow. So accountability is such an important part of the mindset. And then fear. Fear is one of my absolute favorite things when it comes to our mindset because we look at fear as this negative. It has this negative spin on it that if you're afraid of something, that must mean it's bad. And to me, when I feel fear in a situation, that means I'm about to grow. That means I'm going to change. I'm going to try something I haven't tried, and I'm going to step out of my comfort zone. And that's where growth is. So earlier in my career, I realized, I had all of these fearful moments of saying, can I do this or should I do this? Because they were coming from these self-limiting beliefs. And I realized fear is simply just energy. And if I can harness that energy, then I can grow right through it.
Yeah, absolutely. Even in like, my industry, I remember just like being shaking when you have to like, talk in front of people or do like a broadcast that's live and you're just like, I'm going to mess this up. Something's going to happen, and fear is usually like in letting that get the best of you is usually, it's like our worst enemy is ourselves, basically letting
Yeah.
that kind of take a hold instead of using it to kind of fuel you.
Yeah, and I just think it's so derived from these self-limiting beliefs that we have. It's those little voices in your head that says you can't do this, or it's too risky, or you don't know enough about it. And I think that's what stops so many people. If anything, those self-limiting beliefs are the mindset that stops people from growing. But it's kind of like what I teach when I'm talking about. I teach people to flip houses, and just because you have said something in your head over and over again, it doesn't mean that it's real. It's just familiar because you've said it over and over again. But just because something is familiar doesn't mean it's true. So once you can look past those and you can say, you know what, just because I don't know anything, I can still learn it. Just because I haven't done it doesn't mean I can't try it. It's just getting past our own mindset of, I can't do this. And once you can say, I can do it, I believe it's one word. And this is something I went through when I was younger, but I was winning it. I was in a limbo competition and there was this girl that I was like, man, I can't beat her. And I told that to my mom, and my mom just simply turned it around. She goes, okay, well, how would you beat her? And I was like, how? I was so busy caught up and I can't beat it that the word how didn't even dawn on me until she said it. And the moment she said it, it changed how I saw everything. Suddenly it was like, wow, that door was back open that I closed all by myself saying I can't do something. But the moment you say how and you put that in your vocabulary, it opens a part of your brain to creativity and saying, okay, let's try to find a way to do it.
And make it happen. That's true.
Yeah.
Yep. And what are some of the things that are in the book? Like if we had like a little sneak peek of what you will find in there.
Oh, the book it is the 26 biggest mistakes that I have made. I know a lot of people write about their wins. I thought, what a better story than to write about my failures so everyone else can figure out how not to flip a house. So it was the biggest mistakes that I had made through my career. It was leaving doors unlocked and having all of in one of the properties we had Sub-Zero, Wolf appliances, Viking appliances. And I finished the property. We finished the flip. I left the door unlocked and someone came and stole all of them. So
oh my goodness.
It's acknowledging where I made mistakes along the way, but I had all the appliances stolen. I partnered with the wrong people. I flipped houses based on location and not doing comps. I've let wholesalers do numbers for me. I've even gotten into a fight with a priest over a nightstand. So because I didn't pull my staging furniture out and they said, hey, we're moving in and all of this furniture is staging. So here we are in the front yard with the police and, and this lovely religious couple who is just arguing with me. And I'm like, I feel so bad. I can't argue them. But that's my furniture and I'm sorry I left it, but I need it back. So it's all of these simple mistakes that have been big mistakes, little mistakes, so that hopefully if somebody is reading it, one, they can laugh and cringe and, be part of it. But if they want to flip houses, they can say that is something I definitely won't make the same mistake she did and learn vicariously through me.
That's true. And that is true because those are the things like I think I wish people had, kind of warned me in like different careers. I'm like, don't do this, don't do that. It'll save you some of, some anguish.
Yeah.
And this book also is like a broader impact. It's not just real estate. People can use this in like other types of entrepreneurship.
Oh, absolutely. And when I talk about flipping houses or entrepreneurship, I always make it a point to say whether you're flipping houses or whether you want a bakery, it is everything in this world, every career path is figure outable. And it is just getting past the mindset that you can't figure it out for some reason. And the first, I think, 7 or 8 chapters are dedicated to just that because it's the same mistakes that I made when it comes to mindset, when it came to accountability, when it came to fear, when it came to, just owning up your mistakes, when it comes to self-pity or playing the victim. It's how to get past all of those mistakes so you can start to live a life that you want on your terms.
And a lot of that too, like you were talking about, you also talk a little bit about financial freedom in real estate. And I think real estate has had its ups and downs, but do you feel that real estate still is a place that people can find that, if you figure out how to do it properly and, flipping homes, what do you have any advice for people who are kind of looking to get into it?
Oh, absolutely. I have now flipped houses for 20 years. Literally since I was 22 years old, I have been flipping houses. And I have still taught and used the same method that I used 20 years ago, and it still works today. And it is my favorite industry to be in, because before I was in real estate, I tried a couple of things out. And, of course, this was my favorite because I've stuck with it for 20 years. But I believe, because people ask me, they'll say, hey, it's so saturated. Can I even do it? Can I get into it? This is the number one way to build wealth and to build financial freedom. And that is what I teach. I teach people on TikTok. I mean, they can see me on TikTok. I show every day, and I pretty much give you the meat and the potatoes on TikTok. I show them how to do it with no credit, how to do it with no money, and how to do it even if they don't have any experience. And I cannot share with you what it feels like when I make a couple videos on TikTok and then somebody takes that information and now they've got their house, or now they've done a flip, or they found a lender that does 100% lending because of watching my videos or taking my course. It's like, your kids growing up and watching it. You're like, oh my gosh, they're doing such a good job. And since I've been doing it, I've had people, since I just made the course that I made back in May of this month, May of 2025. And I have people that are on their third and their fourth flips. They have their third or their fourth rental properties. There's some that have only done one or two, but they're in it, and it has changed the direction and the trajectory of their entire lives just by saying, you know what, I want to do this. There's space here for me. And that's what I tell everyone. It's not that you have to have 100 flips. You don't have to do it as big as I do it. I do it because that's just the way I am, and that's what makes me tick. But you only need one flip that's going to change everything. I mean, one flip will change your mindset. It will change your perspective. It will change your finances. So that's what I teach everyone to do. I teach them how to flip the house and then how to level up to buying and holding the properties so you can build generational wealth and that you can retire and whatever it is that you want to do long term. But either way, so you're not having to go to the 9 to 5. You can live life on your terms. It's not just get up, pay bills, go to work. You're doing something that you love, and you're getting to do it every day, and you get to make money while you're doing it. So there is plenty of space for anyone that decides they want to come in this world and be a part of it.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I know, are there any areas, like, do you kind of point out areas that are bigger than others, or is any area pretty much like a good place? Like if you're like, Florida sometimes is like got some hot spots, but is it any state really? Are there opportunities that people can find?
There's opportunities to flip anywhere that there is people. Whether you want to flip or whether you want to be a landlord, there's opportunities everywhere that there is people. It's different areas. I always tell everyone, if you're going to start flipping, start in your town or the area that you know the best, because you know the area. You know where the good parts are. You know where the bad parts are. You know where the old original houses from, 1930 is still there. You know where everything is. So it gives you that just little bit of a leg up if you start in an area that you're familiar with. But you can do this anywhere. In other countries, you can do it anywhere as long as there's people there, because there are properties for everyone.
And you kind of walk them through. I know, is it just like, does the book also do it, or is it more so in your course?
It's more so in my course. The book is more about the mistakes that I made and getting to laugh with me and learn from those mistakes. So the moment that you start doing it, you're like, oh, look, we got a list right here of not to do's. But yeah, it's for any area. And the book, like I said, it's more of fun and learning. And then the course is actually the material where it teaches you how from A to Z. And I have a mom and daughter that's doing it. And the daughter is 14 and she's taken the course with the mom and she is already doing it. They're on their first flip. I know she's not old enough to buy her own house yet, but she's doing it side by side with the mom, and they posted in our Facebook group, and she's so business minded already. And she's like, this is all I want to do ever. They'll message me, they'll send me videos, and it is just one of the best things to watch.
Oh, that is cool.
Yeah.
I mean, being able to have that entrepreneurial spirit early on and learning, what not to do and even be able to grow with your parent who's learning. That's a cool thing. Definitely.
I make it a point too in the course that I don't speak in real estate terms necessarily in the course. Everything that I say, I always say, I'm going to make this easy to understand in normal people's terms, and I'm going to make it short and simple to the point, because I know you got shit to do today. That's how I actually introduce it. But I like when I first started, I would go to different networking events and different meetups, and I didn't speak the language, and that made it very hard for me. And no one was willing to, there's not a real estate for dummies book where it's in layman's terms. So I made it a point to where everything is so simplified that even the 14-year-old understands what I'm saying and has no problem and can now speak the language absolutely fluently, because I break it down into such easy to understand terms.
And now if people want information on the course, on you, I mean, social media, what are some of the best places to find you?
Oh, they can find me everywhere. I have Instagram, I have TikTok, I have YouTube. You can go to my website, and they're all JackieTheHappyInvestor.com. So it's the same through everything, and you can find me anywhere. And yeah, I make myself readily available. And if somebody wants, I'm on TikTok. I do lives about twice a week. So even if you're not in the course, even if you don't buy my book, and that's fine. If you don't want it, don't get it. You can still come onto TikTok on my lives and ask me questions, and I will answer them right then and right there. So I try to make myself as readily available, and I try to answer as much as possible. I had one of the guys that did a review on the course, and he said, you know, coming on Jackie's TikTok, it's like the meat and the potatoes here, and then in the course, it's the side, the fixing, and all of her documents. So that's the benefits in a slow order, as opposed to TikTok. You kind of got to scroll through a little bit.
Right, and get through everything.
Yeah.
I like that. Very nice. Yeah, definitely. Well, I really appreciate you joining us today, and I hope people check out the book and also check out TikTok and the course. And thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.